Medieval times are often portrayed as a time of darkness, but they were also a time of incredible ingenuity. Discovered forgotten inventions that paved the way for modern technologies like the printing press, eyeglasses, and even the humble windmill. Medieval times are often portrayed as a time of darkness, a period when progress stopped and ingenuity was lost. But what if that wasn't entirely true? What if, hidden within those very centuries, were brilliant ideas and clever tools that paved the way for many of the modern technologies we rely on today? Imagine discovering forgotten inventions that led to things as groundbreaking as the printing press, as life-changing as eyeglasses, and even as seemingly simple as the humble windmill. Tonight, the Gentle History invites you on a quiet journey to uncover these surprising innovations that came from medieval minds. Prepare to listen, to learn, and perhaps to drift gently into slumber. As we reveal the hidden ingenuity of the Middle Ages, our modern minds often hold a strong picture of the Middle Ages, don't they? We picture knights in shining armor, grand stone castles, and a world that seems quite slow and old-fashioned. Many stories, movies, and even old history books have called this period the Dark Ages. This term makes us think of a time when people were not very smart, when new ideas stopped, and when everyone was stuck in old ways. It paints a picture of dirt, disease, and a lack of clever thinking. We imagine a world without much progress, a long pause between the great times of ancient Rome and the bright discoveries of the Renaissance. This common idea that the medieval period was a time of ignorance and gloom is a very powerful myth. It's a myth that has been repeated so many times that it feels like a solid fact in our minds. But as we quietly explore, looking beyond the popular and often exaggerated stories, we begin to see a very different picture. The idea of the Dark Ages is a big misconception that has been mostly dispelled by real historians and archaeologists. While life was certainly challenging and different from ours in many ways, the medieval period was far from a time when progress stopped. It was a time of incredible innovation and progress, often happening quietly, step by careful step. Imagine the calm patience required to build a massive cathedral, or to figure out how to harness the power of a river. These were not the works of ignorant minds. Think about the everyday lives of people back then. They faced real problems just like us: how to get water, how to grind grain for bread, how to travel, how to see clearly when their eyes grow old. These were practical, immediate needs. And in finding solutions, medieval people showed amazing cleverness. Their solutions might not have used electricity or complex computers, but they used the resources they had: wood, stone, water, wind, in very smart ways. This quiet problem-solving, often done by humble craftspeople and thoughtful scholars, led to many useful tools and machines that we often forget about today. This is where the concept of forgotten inventions comes in. It's many of the advancements that we now take for granted, thinking they came much later, actually had their roots or saw significant development during the medieval period. These inventions weren't always dramatic or flashy. Sometimes they were small improvements to existing ideas. Sometimes they were completely new ways of doing things that spread slowly, quietly, from one village to another, from one country to another. They weren't always given big names or celebrated widely, no, but their impact was enormous, slowly but surely shaping the world we live in today. These hidden innovations remind us that even in times we think of as dark, human creativity never truly stopped. Imagine the feeling of a medieval craftsman quietly tinkering in his workshop, solving a problem that no one else had quite figured out. The soft tap-tap-up of a hammer, the gentle scrape of wood, the low hum of concentration. These were the moments when ingenuity was born. These forgotten inventions weren't just curious old gadgets. They were practical tools that improved daily life, made work easier, or opened up new possibilities. They show us that the human mind's ability to think, to create, to overcome challenges is a constant through history, even in times that are often unfairly called dark. So, prepare to embark on a fascinating journey through history. Our path will take us beyond the well-worn tales of knights and castles, into the quiet workshops, the bustling fields, and the thoughtful minds of medieval innovators. We'll be sparking your curiosity about the hidden stories of medieval innovation. These aren't just facts. They're stories of quiet determination, clever thinking, and surprising breakthroughs. We'll explore how simple problems led to ingenious solutions, and how these solutions, often unseen in our modern textbooks, laid the crucial groundwork for the world we inhabit. You'll discover connections between the past and the present that might genuinely surprise you, offering a fresh perspective on the incredible legacy of the Middle Ages. This journey is designed not to overwhelm you with complex details, but to gently unfold the ingenuity of a misunderstood era. We will explore the quiet rhythms of innovation, the steady progress that often went unnoticed, like a river flowing silently underground, shaping the landscape above. The sounds we imagine will be subtle, the gentle whir of a turning wheel, the soft clink of a new tool, the quiet rustle of parchment as a new idea is sketched. This is not a loud, dramatic story of invention, but a soothing exploration of ingenuity that will allow your mind to settle and unwind. Let us step into this overlooked past and allow these quiet descriptions to paint a picture in your mind, helping you to find a deep sense of calm as you discover the brilliance of medieval minds. Having gently illuminated the often misunderstood intellectual landscape of the Middle Ages, revealing a time far richer in thought and innovation than commonly believed, it's now time to explore some specific examples of this quiet brilliance. We are going to delve into the genius of medieval engineering, examining how simple yet profound inventions transformed daily life, increased productivity, and quietly laid foundations for the future. These weren't loud, explosive breakthroughs, but rather subtle shifts in design that created immense, lasting impact. Let us begin with something that might seem deceptively simple, but which utterly revolutionized one of the most powerful forces of the medieval world: the stirrup. When you picture a knight on horseback, his feet are almost always securely nestled in stirrups. We often take them for granted, seeing them as just a convenient place for a rider's foot. But the stirrup was far, far more than just a footrest. It was a fundamental shift in the way humans interacted with the horse, transforming both warfare and everyday travel. Imagine for a moment riding a horse without stirrups. You'd have to grip tightly with your legs, constantly struggling to maintain balance, especially if the horse was moving quickly or suddenly. Your ability to wield a weapon, or even to guide the horse precisely, would be limited by your constant need for stability. The stirrup, which slowly spread into Europe from Asian cultures, changed everything. It provided a stable platform, a solid anchor for the rider's foot. Think about the quiet moment a rider would feel as their foot slipped into the leather loop, feeling the solid wood or metal beneath their arch. This simple invention allowed a rider to do something truly revolutionary: to stand in the saddle while the horse was in motion. This meant that the rider could deliver a blow with a sword or lance, not just with the strength of their arm, but with the entire momentum of the horse and rider combined. Imagine the power, the sheer force that could be channeled through the lance of a charging knight, a power previously unimaginable. The subtle clink of the stirrup against the leather straps as the rider shifted their weight, the soft thud of a foot settling into place. These quiet sounds accompanied a transformation in military tactics, turning the mounted knight into a true, powerful force on the battlefield, able to absorb the impact of a blow and remain firmly seated. But the stirrup's impact wasn't just about war. It subtly improved everyday life and travel. Imagine a farmer needing to travel miles to the market with produce. With stirrups, he could ride more comfortably for longer distances, reducing fatigue. He could also stand up to gain a better view of his surroundings, or to adjust his load. For hunters, it allowed greater stability when riding through rough terrain or aiming a bow. The stirrup created a deeper partnership between rider and horse, allowing for more precise control and efficiency. The rhythmic thump-thump of a horse's hooves on a dirt path, now steadied by a rider firmly planted in their stirrups, became a more reliable and constant sound across the medieval landscape. This quiet invention, seemingly small, had immense consequences, making the horse an even more central and effective partner in human endeavors, shaping societies and economies in profound, lasting ways. Next, let's consider another invention that, like the stirrup, seems humble, but brought about an immense change in the quiet daily life of medieval people: the horse collar. For centuries before the medieval period, horses were often harnessed using a simple strap that went around their throat or chest. This older design had a severe limitation, When the horse pulled hard, the strap would press against its windpipe, making it difficult to breathe and severely reducing its pulling power. Imagine a horse struggling, its breathing labored, unable to put its full strength into pulling a heavy cart or a plow. The sounds would be strained, a muffled gasp, or a quiet choke as it tried to exert itself. This meant that oxen, which pulled from their shoulders, were often preferred for heavy farm work. Even though horses are naturally faster and have more endurance, the medieval horse collar, developed slowly and patiently in Europe, was a brilliant yet simple redesign, instead of the strap pressing on the throat. The new collar was padded and designed to sit around the horse's shoulders and upper chest. This simple shift changed everything. Now, the horse could push into the collar with its powerful shoulder muscles, applying its full strength to the load without choking. Imagine the difference. A horse previously straining, now pulling smoothly, its breath steady, its powerful muscles engaged without discomfort. You might hear the soft creak of the leather harness, the rhythmic tramp-tramped of the horse's hooves, now pulling much heavier loads with ease. The sounds of effort are replaced by sounds of efficient work. This simple invention utterly transformed agriculture and transportation. With the horse collar, horses could now pull heavier plows, allowing farmers to turn over more soil more efficiently. This meant more crops could be grown, leading to more food for more people. The sounds of medieval farming became more productive. The deeper thud of a plow cutting through earth, the more constant whir of turning wheels on carts laden with produce. Horses also became much more efficient for pulling carts and wagons, speeding up trade and transportation. Goods could be moved further and faster. The quiet journeys of merchants across the land became more efficient, contributing to economic growth. The horse collar was a testament to the quiet, observant genius of medieval engineers who understood both animal physiology and practical design. It was not a loud, dramatic invention, but a patient redesign that brought immense, quiet progress to the medieval world, subtly improving the lives of countless people. Finally, let us consider an invention that truly harnessed the immense, constant power of nature and brought about a fundamental shift in medieval society: the watermill. You might picture a rustic wooden structure by a flowing river, its large wheels slowly turning in the current. And while this image is correct, the impact of watermills extended far beyond just grinding grain. The watermill was a powerful, versatile machine that transformed production and freed human labor in ways that were revolutionary for its time. Imagine the calm, rhythmic sounds of a watermill at work, a constant, soothing presence in the landscape. The basic mechanism of a watermill is simple, yet brilliant. The flowing water of a river or stream pushes against large paddles or blades on a wheel, causing the wheel to turn slowly and powerfully. This turning motion is then transferred through a series of quiet, sturdy gears and shafts to power various types of machinery inside the mill building. The most common use, and perhaps the most vital, was for grinding grain into flour. Before watermills, this laborious task was done by hand, using heavy stones, or by animals walking in circles. Imagine the constant, dull thump-thump of hand grinding, or the quiet scuff of animal hooves. Watermills replaced this strenuous effort with the quiet, continuous power of the river. The sounds within a grain mill would be dominated by the steady whir of the large millstones grinding grain, the soft rustle of grain being fed into the hopper, and the constant, rhythmic clack-clack-clack of the wooden gears turning slowly and powerfully. The result was a steady supply of flour for bread, freeing up immense human labor for other tasks. But watermills were not just for bread. Their ingenious design allowed them to be adapted for many other uses, silently revolutionizing various industries. They were used for sawing wood, transforming the arduous task of cutting large timbers into a more efficient, mechanized process. Imagine the rhythmic buzzsaw sound of a large wooden saw blade driven by the water wheel, cutting through logs. They were also used for fulling cloth, a crucial step in textile production that involved pounding woven cloth in water to make it denser and stronger. This was previously done by people trampling the cloth with their feet. Water-powered fulling mills created a rhythmic thump-thump as heavy wooden hammers pounded the cloth, a much more efficient and less strenuous method. Watermills even powered bellows for iron smelting, providing a continuous blast of air to furnaces, which allowed for the production of larger quantities of iron and steel. Imagine the soft, rhythmic whoosh-whoosh of giant bellows being powered by the unseen force of the turning wheel. The impact of watermills on medieval society was profound and far-reaching. They were a cornerstone of the medieval economy, transforming local industries and creating specialized crafts. By replacing human and animal labor, they increased productivity and efficiency across the board. The landscape began to fill with the quiet, industrious hum of these mills, their constant presence a testament to human ingenuity harnessing natural forces. The sounds of medieval life became more efficient, more productive, reflecting a society quietly moving forward. The steady rush of water, the rhythmic whir of machinery, the soft thump of grain, these were the sounds of progress, transforming medieval life in ways that would lay the groundwork for the Industrial Revolution centuries later. These were not loud, disruptive changes, but patient, methodical advancements that shaped the world. Having explored the foundational engineering genius of medieval times, the stirrup, the horse collar, and the mighty watermill, let's now turn our calm attention to other ingenious developments that subtly, yet profoundly reshape the daily lives of countless individuals. These were not always grand structures, but often clever solutions that made personal tasks easier, connected people differently, or simply brought more light and order to existence. These inventions integrated quietly into the fabric of everyday routines, enhancing capabilities without creating a sudden clamor. First among these quiet marvels are eyeglasses. Imagine for a moment the profound frustration of a scholar, a meticulous scribe, or skilled craftsperson whose eyesight begins to dim with age. You're in a world before corrective lenses, the onset of age-related farsightedness, common condition we now call presbyopia, meant the slow, inevitable end of their ability to read fine print, to work on intricate details, or to continue their beloved craft. Their productive lives, their ability to contribute to society, would be cut short simply because their eyes could no longer focus on nearby objects.
Oh, nice.
This was a silent, personal tragedy for many. But in the late 13th century, a quiet revolution began in Italy with the invention of the earliest form of eyeglasses. These first eyeglasses were remarkably simple. Two convex lenses, carefully ground from quartz or glass, each mounted into a frame of bone, metal, or leather. Imagine the delicate touch as a person would lift these strange new devices to their eyes. The soft click of the frame as it opened, perhaps a gentle creak of leather. The sheer wonder they must have felt as the blurry world of fine text suddenly snapped into clear, sharp focus.
Oh.
This was nothing short of miraculous. The silent joy of being able to read a book again, to illuminate the words on a page, to continue the painstaking work of copying manuscripts, or to meticulously work on a piece of jewelry. The invention of eyeglasses quite literally revolutionized reading, scholarship, and craftsmanship. It allowed scholars to read and write for many more years. Contributing to the quiet accumulation of knowledge in monasteries and universities, scribes could continue their painstaking work of copying texts, ensuring ancient wisdom was preserved. Craftsmen, like jewelers or clockmakers, could extend their productive careers, allowing for more detailed and precise work. The impact was quiet, yet immense. Imagine the profound silence of a monk in a scriptorium, no longer squinting, his breathing calm, and even as he diligently copies a text. The only sound might be the soft scratch of his quill on parchment, now made clearer by the lens. The longevity of their eyesight meant more books were copied, and more knowledge was spread. For ordinary people, it meant grandparents could see their grandchildren's faces clearly, or continue a beloved hobby like embroidery. Eyeglasses didn't create new loud noises. Instead, they enabled existing quiet activities to continue for longer, deepening the calm pursuit of knowledge and craft. The gentle whir of a mind deeply engaged in reading, now made possible by these simple lenses, became a more common presence in medieval society. Next, let's explore an invention that quietly, yet fundamentally, altered the rhythm of daily life: the mechanical clock. Before the advent of the mechanical clock, time was measured in much more fluid, natural ways. People relied on sundials, which were useless at night or on cloudy days. They used water clocks, where water would slowly drip from one vessel to another. But these were prone to freezing in winter and needed constant refilling and checking. Imagine the subtle sounds of a water clock, the quiet drip, drip, drip of water, the occasional gurgle as a chamber fills. These methods were inconsistent, imprecise, and demanded constant human attention. Time was a flowing, less rigid concept, dictated by the sun's position or the calls for prayer from a monastery. The mechanical clock, emerging in Europe around the late 13th and early 14th centuries, was a marvel of medieval engineering, testament to the quiet ingenuity of its creators. Its core innovation was the escapement mechanism, a clever device that allowed a weight or spring to drive gears in a precise, controlled, and rhythmic way, producing a constant tick-tock. Imagine the quiet dedication of the early clockmakers, meticulously crafting tiny gears from metal, carefully balancing weights, and precisely calibrating escapements. The sounds in their workshops would be subtle. The gentle tap, tap, tap of small hammers. The delicate filing of metal, the soft whir of newly assembled gears. These early mechanical clocks were often monumental in size, placed in church towers or public buildings. Their purpose was to standardize time, to mark the hours for prayer, work, and daily activities. Imagine the deep, resonant chime of a clock tower bell, slowly and methodically ringing out the hour across a sleeping medieval town. This sound, previously heard only as part of a natural or less precise ritual, now became a consistent, undeniable marker of time, heard equally by all. These large clocks rarely had faces. They primarily struck the hours, indicating time through sound. This standardization of time quietly regulated daily life, shifting society from reliance on natural rhythms to precise, measurable segments. For ordinary people, it meant knowing exactly when to start work, when to attend the market, or when to participate in a communal event. It created a more synchronized society, its pulse now guided by the rhythmic tick-tock of unseen gears. The subtle whir of a complex mechanical clock, a silent marvel of precision, brought order to the lives of countless individuals. Next, let us consider an invention that fundamentally transformed the spread of knowledge and communication, even though its true explosion of impact would come slightly later: the printing press. Before the printing press, books were painstakingly copied by hand by scribes, often monks in quiet monasteries. Imagine the solitary, methodical work. The soft scratching of a quill pen on parchment, the gentle rustle of turning pages, the profound silence of a scriptorium filled with devoted copyists. This was an incredibly slow process, making books extremely rare, expensive, and prone to errors. Knowledge was confined to a very small elite. The invention of the movable type printing press, credited to Johannes Gutenberg in the mid-15th century. The very tail end of the medieval period, often seen as the bridge to the Renaissance, was a quiet revolution in communication. Its genius lay in creating individual metal letters that could be arranged, inked, and pressed onto paper, then rearranged for the next page. Imagine the sounds in an early printing workshop, the rhythmic clunk-thump of the heavy wooden press as the platen came down, the soft squeak of the wooden rollers as ink was applied to the type, the gentle rustle of newly printed sheets being carefully peeled from the press and laid out to dry. These were mechanical sounds, but rhythmic and contained, far from the roar of later industrial machinery. The impact was immense and profoundly quiet. Books became much cheaper and more plentiful. Knowledge previously locked away could now spread rapidly, influencing education, religion, and science. Literacy slowly but steadily increased. The printing press didn't make a loud, immediate noise across the land, but its quiet revolution transformed the intellectual landscape, paving the way for the Reformation and the scientific revolution. It allowed for a greater number of voices to be heard, more ideas to be shared, and more widespread access to the accumulated wisdom of humanity. It was a testament to the quiet ingenuity that sought to democratize knowledge itself, changing the world in profound ways, one printed page at a time. Finally, let us explore the humble yet truly transformative spinning wheel. Before its widespread adoption in the medieval period, thread for textiles was produced through a very slow and painstaking process. Hand spinning with a distaff and spindle. Imagine a person patiently drawing out fibers, twisting them by hand, the spindle slowly turning. Quiet, almost meditative process. This was incredibly time-consuming, limiting the amount of thread that could be produced, and thus limiting the amount of cloth available for clothing and other uses. The spinning wheel, slowly gaining traction in the medieval era, was a brilliant step forward in textile production. It mechanized the twisting process. A large wheel, operated by hand or foot, would rapidly spin a spindle, drawing out fibers from a distaff into a continuous thread. Imagine the constant rhythmic whir of the wheel turning, a soft, almost hypnotic hum that would fill workshops and homes. The gentle pull and twist of the fibers, the soft thrum as the thread wound onto the spindle, these were the sounds of efficient, quiet creation. The impact was immense. The spinning wheel vastly increased the speed of yarn production, transforming the textile industry. More thread meant more cloth, leading to more affordable clothing for everyone. It freed up human labor, allowing more people to engage in other activities. It moved textile production from a purely laborious craft to a more efficient, almost industrialized process within the home or small workshop. The quiet hum of the spinning wheel became a common backdrop to domestic life in medieval times. A sound of subtle progress and increased productivity that benefited countless families. It was a testament to the quiet ingenuity that sought to clothe and comfort the growing populations of the medieval world, shaping daily life in subtle yet powerful ways. Having journeyed through the quiet workshops and inventive minds of the medieval era, exploring the genius behind eyeglasses, mechanical clocks, the printing press, and the humble spinning wheel, it's now time to broaden our view. We'll consider the enduring impact of these brilliant creations. This brings us to the medieval legacy, a foundation for the future. It's a testament to how the quiet ripples of innovation from centuries past continue to shape the powerful currents of our modern, technological world. Imagine for a moment tracing a silent, invisible thread from a medieval clock tower, its gears slowly, rhythmically turning, all the way to the precise digital watch on your wrist or the perfectly synchronized apps on your phone. The impact of medieval inventions on modern technology is profound, often unseen, but utterly undeniable. The mechanical clock, with its revolutionary escapement mechanism, was the first machine to truly regulate time with precision. Its consistent tick-tock, once a novelty, became the fundamental heartbeat for all subsequent timekeeping devices. Without the painstaking, quiet work of those early medieval clockmakers, the very concept of standardized, measurable time that underlies our entire modern industrial and digital world might never have developed. Imagine the slow whir of those first gear trains, setting the pace for centuries of future innovation, leading eventually to the quiet hum of computer processors measuring time in nanoseconds. It's a direct lineage, a constant thread of ingenuity, carefully spun from medieval workshops to modern factories. Think also of the printing press. Its quiet, rhythmic clunk thump in a medieval workshop was the direct ancestor of the roaring, high-speed presses of the industrial age, and ultimately the silent glow of your e-reader or computer screen. The very idea of mass-produced identical information, so central to our global society, began with those individual movable metal letters being arranged one by one, very slowly, very carefully. The patient work of medieval scribes was transformed by this innovation, which paved the way for widespread literacy, the rapid spread of scientific ideas, and the formation of public opinion. Every book you pick up, every article you read online, owes its very existence to the quiet revolution initiated by medieval printers. It's a powerful, enduring legacy, silently echoing in the way we consume information today. And consider the humble eyeglasses. These simple convex lenses, first crafted in medieval Italy, quietly opened up decades of productive life for scholars, artisans, and merchants. Before eyeglasses, a person's career could end prematurely when their close-up vision failed with age. Eyeglasses prolonged their working lives, allowing them to continue reading, calculating, and creating. This single invention, often taken for granted today, directly supported the explosion of knowledge and detailed craftsmanship that characterized the later medieval period and the Renaissance. Imagine the calm focus of a scholar, illuminated by a single lamp, meticulously reading a text. Their eyes now clear thanks to these lenses. The quiet work they enabled, the additional years of productivity, and the preservation and creation of knowledge. These were profound contributions that ripple through history, impacting countless lives silently. Even inventions like the horse collar and the water mill, seemingly simple, cast long shadows into modernity. The horse collar, by allowing horses to efficiently plow land and pull heavy loads, transformed agriculture. It led to more food, more efficient trade, and the gradual freeing up of human labor for other pursuits. This quiet revolution in farming efficiency directly contributed to population growth and the development of specialized trades. Laying the groundwork for later agricultural and industrial revolutions, the watermill, harnessing natural power, was a true precursor to the factory. Its rhythmic clack-clack-clack was the original sound of industrialization. It taught humans how to use external power sources to drive machinery for grinding, sawing, and fulling. The principles developed in these medieval mills directly influenced the design of later steam engines and hydroelectric power plants. The quiet ingenuity of those who channeled water to turn a wheel was a direct ancestor to the clean, powerful energy systems of our own time. Beyond the tangible inventions, the medieval period also holds a profound and often overlooked ongoing relevance in its thought and societal structures. We are not just talking about old philosophical debates and hushed monastery libraries. Medieval thinkers grappled with fundamental ideas about science, logic, and the organization of society that continue to resonate in surprisingly quiet ways today. For instance, the very foundation of the modern university system, with its faculties, degrees, and emphasis on rational inquiry, was a medieval invention. Imagine the quiet scholarly atmosphere of a medieval university lecture hall. The soft murmur of students, the patient voice of a professor explaining complex ideas. This structured approach to education, to seeking knowledge through reasoned argument and observation, directly influenced the development of scientific methodology. Their emphasis on logic and systematic inquiry, while sometimes based on flawed premises, was a crucial intellectual tool. Scholars like Thomas Aquinas engaged in rigorous logical arguments to understand the world, setting a standard for careful reasoning that still influences academic thought. This quiet dedication to logical exploration, to questioning and analyzing, paved the way for later scientific revolutions. They were not just accepting dogma, they were actively trying to understand and reconcile different forms of knowledge through careful thought. The sounds would be of profound contemplation. The soft rustle of parchment as an argument is written. The quiet hum of a mind deeply engaged in thought, the stillness of a room where ideas slowly take shape. Furthermore, medieval societies focus on communal organization and local governance. While different from modern democracies, subtly shaped ideas about community, rights, and social responsibility. The development of guilds, for instance, which organized craftsmen and protected their trades, laid the groundwork for professional organizations. The quiet discussions in town halls, the careful agreements forged between communities, these were the early, often unseen workings of complex societal structures. These were not always loud, dramatic movements, but slow, patient evolutions in human organization. This constant connection between medieval thought and our modern world compels us to reconsider our understanding of history. The pervasive narrative of the Dark Ages, as a period of absolute intellectual stagnation, is not merely incomplete. It is fundamentally misleading. When we understand the context of their daily lives, the challenges they faced, and the incredible limitations under which they operated, the ingenuity of medieval minds shines through with remarkable clarity. It's about more than just a historical correction. It's about shifting our perceptions, allowing us to see a period of remarkable, often quiet progress. Imagine the feeling of your perspective gently shifting, like a slow sunrise illuminating a landscape you thought you already knew. The value of this historical revaluation is immense. It challenges the traditional narrative of a sudden leap from ancient greatness to Renaissance brilliance, instead revealing a continuous flow, sometimes slow, flow of ideas and innovations. This quiet historical research allows us to appreciate the subtle connections, the persistent efforts, and the continuous thread of human ingenuity that links us directly to our medieval ancestors. It sparks a deeper appreciation for the ingenuity of medieval minds, showing us that even in times portrayed as dim, the light of human cleverness never truly went out. Our journey through the gentle history of forgotten medieval inventions has been a quiet exploration, a patient unraveling of truths often obscured by popular myth. We've discovered that the Middle Ages, far from being a time of darkness, was a vibrant period of profound ingenuity and continuous subtle progress. Let's gently recap the incredible innovations we've uncovered and reflect on their quiet, lasting impact. We saw how the simple stirrup silently transformed warfare and travel, giving riders unprecedented stability and power, fundamentally reshaping the medieval world from the back of a horse. Then the clever redesign of the horse collar unlocked the true strength of equine power, quietly boosting agriculture and transportation, allowing more food to be grown and moved with less effort. The majestic watermill, harnessing the ceaseless power of rivers, brought about a quiet revolution in production, transforming grain into flour, sawing wood, empowering various industries with its steady, rhythmic hum. Moving into the realm of personal and intellectual life, we witnessed the quiet miracle of eyeglasses, which gently illuminated the world for aging eyes, extending decades of productivity for scholars and artisans, and quietly fueling the spread of knowledge. The rhythmic, mechanical clock, with its precise tick-tock, gradually brought order to daily life, standardizing time and subtly guiding the pulse of towns and monasteries. The printing press, a quiet giant, transformed communication and knowledge itself, democratizing access to books and ideas, and setting the stage for future intellectual explosions. And the humble spinning wheel, with its constant soothing whir, silently revolutionized textile production, making clothing more abundant and easing the burden of daily labor. The legacy of the medieval period is not one of stagnation, but of a crucial, fertile bridge between the ancient world and the modern era. It was a time when the seeds of countless future technologies were quietly sown, nurtured by patient minds and skilled hands. The enduring power of these medieval innovations lies in their foundational nature. They didn't just solve immediate problems, they laid the very groundwork for the printing factories. The precision engineering, the advanced timekeeping, and the widespread knowledge dissemination that define our world today. It's a powerful reminder that every grand technological leap stands on the quiet shoulders of numerous, often forgotten, innovations that came before. This quiet journey encourages each of us to reconsider our understanding of history, to look beyond the sensationalized stories and listen for the subtle hum of progress that always permeates human civilization. It challenges the traditional narrative of the Dark Ages, replacing it with a nuanced appreciation for the ingenuity, resilience, and quiet dedication of medieval minds. Learning about these forgotten inventions offers us a fresh perspective, connecting us to our ancestors through the universal human drive to innovate, to improve, and to make life better. It sparks a deeper appreciation for the patient work of discovery that has always been a part of the human story. As our tranquil exploration of forgotten medieval inventions comes to a gentle close, we sincerely hope you have found a unique sense of profound peace and deep relaxation. The often overlooked details of history, when viewed with calm curiosity, can surprisingly offer moments of deep tranquility, a gentle and unexpected pathway to unwind your thoughts and find truly restorative rest. Thank you for allowing the gentle history to guide you through this fascinating and quietly brilliant corner of the medieval world. If this calm exploration has helped you drift off or find a moment of peace, or has simply enlightened you with new insights, please consider liking this video. Your gentle support truly allows us to continue bringing these unique, soothing historical stories to life for you and countless others seeking tranquility from the past. Please subscribe to the Gentle History channel to ensure you don't miss our next tranquil journey into the quiet rhythms of history. We are dedicated to providing you with more calming narratives, meticulously designed for your ultimate relaxation and deep, peaceful sleep. We truly hope these historical insights become a quiet, consistent part of your journey to restful nights, reminding you of the enduring power of human ingenuity. May your night be filled with profound peace and truly restorative slumber. Good night.